So, when the Constitution was originally written, there was no Bill of Rights. And that was in part, and this is one place where they were forward thinking for once. A lot of the founders believed that if you enshrined certain rights in law, that would make people assume that anything that wasn't there was not your right. Genuinely, I don't think most of them would have had a problem with the idea of a right to privacy. I think they would have seen that as being part of things like right to free association and freedom of religion. They would have seen that as just an extension of the other things they considered, if you really sat and talked to them about it. But there is no right to privacy simply because it, as far as I can tell, didn't occur to anyone that it should be there. And they knew that if you said, you have this list of rights, then there would be people who would assume, ergo you do not have these others.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of Supreme Court cases are based on right now, is the idea that if it's not in the Constitution, it's not a right you have.
So these all got passed relatively fast. I mean, I think anyone's 10 in a row got passed like this.
10 in a row. 10 of them just got passed as a lump. Largely because there were a lot of states that refused to ratify the Constitution unless there was an immediate Bill of Rights. I haven't actually seen the lists, or if I have, it's been a while, of all of the proposed changes that various states had to the Constitution, but you go through the list of this state ratified, but then they said it needed this list of changes. And since some of the states wanted up to 30 changes, clearly we haven't had all of them.
Yeah, and one of them took about 200 years to pass. Literally.
Yeah, one of the originally proposed 12 amendments took 200 years to pass, and one of them still hasn't. I don't remember what it was. I would have to look that up. But the fact is, the Constitution was written to be changed. It was written to be changed carefully, which is why it remains the hardest to amend Constitution in the world. But it was, the whole plan the whole time was, we will be able to change this. Let's see if I can find that list. Okay. Yeah, Madison's isn't what happened. Here we go. So the first one proposed, there were 17 articles approved by the House and 12 by the Senate. The first one still has not been ratified because it was approved by Congress. It was, it just hasn't been ratified by the states. After the first enumeration required by the first article of the Constitution, there shall be one representative for every 30,000 until the number shall amount to 100, after which the proportion shall be so regulated by Congress that there shall not be less than 100 representatives, nor less than one representative for every 40,000 people, until the number of representatives shall amount to 200, after which the proportion shall be so regulated by Congress that there shall not be less than 200 representatives, nor more than one representative for every 50,000 persons. So it would have changed some of the stuff about how Congress was set up, and it was never ratified.
So that's saying it would give one representative to every 50,000 people.
Yeah. Yeah, so Congress would suddenly skyrocket, I believe, if that one were passed.
That's something they should pass then, I think, in my opinion, at least.
Oh, I quite agree.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I said 100,000 would be enough, but 50,000, that's even twice that. That's twice that amount I would have apparently. But yeah,
the third one sent to or approved by the House was phrased as Congress shall make no law establishing religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, nor shall the rights of conscience be infringed.
and that was modified to what we called the first later, or
Yeah. The fourth article that was sent was freedom of speech, the press, and the right to peaceably assemble, and that all got and applied to the government for a redress of grievances, and that all got folded into the First Amendment, which we will get to in just a little bit here. The 10th one that was sent got folded into what is now the Fourth Amendment. The 12th one that was sent got folded into what is now the Sixth Amendment. The 14th that was sent got folded into what is now the third and sixth. So it got split up and folded into others.
okay.
The 16th would be kind of nice. Got passed by Congress, nothing, or by the House, nothing further happened to it. The powers delegated by the Constitution to the government of the United States shall be exercised as therein appropriated, so that the legislative shall never exercise the powers vested in the executive or judicial, nor the executive the powers vested in the legislative or judicial, nor the judicial the powers vested in the legislative or executive. Which would, if I'm reading this correctly, and let's establish I am not just not a lawyer, I am not a 19th century lawyer, 18th century lawyer, it would forbid the president from executive orders and from passing tariffs. It would forbid the Congress from controlling the military, other than declaring war.
Yeah.
But it would, limit the powers to the branches to which they were assigned.
What would it prevent the judges from doing then?
I don't think the judges really do much that isn't in the Constitution.
Okay.
I mean, they don't really have a lot of, as Jackson put it, they don't have an army, so they can't enforce their decisions, which is what Jackson was saying was, I have the army, therefore what you say doesn't matter.
Oh, that Jackson. I think we were talking about Jackson Wheat for a second.
No. Even worse Jackson. When the Supreme Court found the Indian Removal Act to be unconstitutional, which it was, Andrew Jackson's response was, well, I have an army. And the Supreme Court doesn't. So we're doing it my way.
And the sad thing about that is they even do it under his watch. They did it under the next guy's watch.
Yeah, no. I have feelings about that, and I'm not even Native American. So there are Native Americans to this day who will not use $20 bills because of the picture of Andrew Jackson. Which is one of the reasons they were talking about taking him off the $20 bill.
So, and the other ones got rolled into the other ones?
Yeah. Most of the proposed ones got folded into others. One of them got passed 200 years later. Two of them have never been passed, one of which didn't even get past the House of Representatives. The Senate didn't even approve it. So, most of the stuff that was originally proposed did in fact get passed. And we've been living under it for well over 200 years now.
Yeah. See, they got passed the year before the second presidential election.
Yeah. Because everybody who ratified the Constitution had been pretty clear that it was an incomplete document, which to be fair, was by design. The Constitution was never supposed to be set in stone. It is supposed to be a living document. That was written into it.
So like,
Which is,
so like they said, they want chisel stone like the Ten Commandments.
yeah. Like, I find originalism really frustrating because it's counter to the actual stated purpose of the document, and yet somehow supposed to be the original intent of the Founding Fathers. Leaving aside the ever-present, but the Founding Fathers didn't all agree on anything.
Like the blue sky.
Like the blue sky. Exactly. So you can't go by the original intent of the founders, because that assumes a single original intent. But if there was a single original intent, it was that the Constitution would be a changing document. So it's really frustrating if you've actually read the stupid thing.
You got your pocket in your pocket Constitution in your hand.
It's in my purse, but my purse is right across the room. I always have my pocket Constitution because I'm that kind of person.
Nice. Be like, go to the line. Actually, pull it out your purse.
I have done that in a genuine real life conversation, and I wouldn't be proud except for the part where the guy was being really stupid, and we'll get to it because that's a Second Amendment conversation.
Sweet. All right, so, and like I said, they were all ratified on December 15th, 1791.
1791. So that is, we have just, as we record this, just passed the anniversary of the ratification of the Bill of Rights.
If it wasn't that we were recording this on Christmas Eve, 2024.
Christmas Eve, 2024. So, yep.
We started this right after the election.
The day after the election, as I recall, where we were just like, let's talk about the Constitution because I just can't even face this right now.